Good evening. This is the December 8th, 2022 meeting of the St. Mary's County Board of Appeals, located in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Meeting Room of the Chesapeake Building, 41770 Baldridge Street, Leonardtown, Maryland. I am Chairman Dan Kniaski, and with 4 other board members here, we have met our minimum requirement for a quorum and will proceed with the meeting. Residents at home may view the meeting on Channel 95 and YouTube. All case documents may be reviewed on the County Board Docs website. I'll open the meeting up for public testimony after all the presentations and testimony by the applicant and representatives have been completed. For in-person public testimony, I will ask that you state your name and address and for the record, and I will swear you in. You will have 3 minutes then to ask your questions or to make your comments directly to the board. Your comments will be recorded and heard by those of us in the Chesapeake Building, Channel 95, and on YouTube. After the public comment portion of the meeting is over, the case will return to the board for any closing comments, members' discussion, and decision. And with that, I'd like to go through and have our members introduce themselves, beginning on my right.
Good evening, Wayne Medensky.
Good evening, Lynn Delahaye.
And again, I'm Dan Kniaski.
Good evening, Rich Richardson.
Good evening, Guy Bradley.
Good evening, Steve Scott, Board Attorney.
And also in our audience, we have Mr. Ronald Payne, the alternate member. And the St. Mary's County government supporting staff tonight are John Hauser, Assistant County Attorney, Bill Hunt, the Director of Land Use and Growth Management, Courtney Jenkins, Deputy Director of Land Use and Growth Management, Amanda Yao, Zoning Administrator, Stacy Clements, Planner 3, Jim Gotch, Director of Department of Public Works and Transportation, and in the media control room is Amy Carter. We had 4 public hearings on the agenda for this evening. However, the Chesapeake Region Forest School, CUAP 220212 and VAAP 220212, has requested to withdraw their application, so they will not be a hearing on that case tonight. The first case we have this evening is Gunto property. The applicant is requesting a variance from St. Mary's County Ordinance, St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, Section 71.8.3, to disturb the critical area buffer to construct a house with a driveway. And giving the presentation tonight will be...
Swear us in.
I'm going to soon have to find out who's giving the presentation and who else is going to be talking tonight or may be. The 3 of you, okay. Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony, responses, and statements you may give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And that applies to all 3 cases for this evening. And Stacy, are you up?
Okay. Tonight's first public hearing is variance application 22-0836, the Gunto property. They are requesting a variance from section 71.8.3 to disturb the critical area buffer to construct a house with a driveway. The legal advertisement was printed on November 18th and 25th, 2022 in the Southern Maryland News. Certified mailings were sent to adjacent property owners located within 200 feet of the project property, and a public hearing sign was posted on the property on and before November 23rd, 2022. The owners of the property are Janice and Wesley Gunto. The property consists of 27,740 square feet, and it has an existing mound system and gravel drive. The applicant is proposing to construct a new 3-story house with an accessory apartment, an attached garage, a driveway, and porches. The site plan is exempt from stormwater management and the soil conservation district requirements, since the site plan proposes less than 5,000 square feet of disturbance. The Health Department is currently reviewing the site plan, and the Critical Area Commission responded to the applicant's request in their letter dated May 10th, 2022. They are requiring mitigation. The property is located at 23750 Old Chaptico Wharf Lane in Maddox. It is zoned Rural Preservation District. The critical area overlay is limited development area. And the applicant is proposing to construct a new 3-story house with an accessory apartment, an attached garage, driveway, and porches. Okay. The applicant is requesting a variance to construct a driveway partially inside the 100-foot critical area buffer. Let's see if I can show. Right here is the 100-foot critical area buffer. Right here is the area of the driveway that would need the variance. Okay? Critical area mitigation will be required at a ratio of 3:1 for permanent disturbance of 530 square feet within the buffer. Additionally, 1:1 mitigation is required for the temporary disturbance inside the buffer and for the new lot coverage located outside of the buffer. So we'd have 420 square feet and 2,468 square feet. The applicant will be required to provide 4,478 square feet of mitigation for the proposed project. A buffer management plan for on-site planning will be approved prior to staff issuing a building permit. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board members?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
on the paragraph 5, paragraph 1, it talked about existing mound
Yes, sir.
and driveway. Was there an existing house there before?
Not that I, here we go. Let's see, I can pull up the old aerial.
The letter from the state mentions a grandfathered waterfront lot,
Correct.
but it doesn't specifically say if there was a house there before.
Maybe wait for the applicant, and I'm sure they know.
Okay.
Say,
Second-
within recent history, I am not seeing. Let's see, spring, and then 2003. There we go.
So there was a house before?
Not that I know of.
Okay. The next question is the accessory apartment. Is that part of the house or?
It is part of the house. It's located within the footprint of the house.
It would be part of the house? Mm-hmm. Any reason for specifically saying accessory apartment?
Just to let you know that everything that was applied for in their permit.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Stacy, I just have a quick question with the mitigation.
Yes, sir.
If the mitigation cannot occur on site, then what happens in that particular case?
Okay, mitigation, usually you want it to occur within the buffer first. If there's no room within the 100-foot buffer, then it would go to adjacent to the buffer, on-site, and then we could go off-site if there's still no room, and then after that, it would be fees in lieu. But there's got to be absolutely no room for mitigation on-site.
The off-site mitigation would also have to be within the critical area?
Correct, sir. Within the, if it's RCA, it would have to be within the RCA. If it's in the LDA, it would have to be within the LDA.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, applicant time. Who's going to be making the presentation for the applicant? Steve? While you're standing, Mr. Vaughn, would you raise your right hand? Do you declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony, responses, and statements you will give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
For the record, would you state your name and affiliation?
Steve Vaughn, LSR Land Surveying, 41650 Courthouse Drive, Leonardtown, Maryland.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are requesting a variance to disturb the critical area buffer for 23750 Old Chapco Wharf Road in Maddox. It is located on the Wycomico River off of Old Chapco Wharf Way. This is just a snapshot of the tax map, just further showing its location. And here are a few photos of the site. This is aerial photo showing the site. There is an existing mound system that was installed and inspected more than 20 years ago. There was a site plan for the project, but the house was never built. So they installed the mound, the septic system, and the pump. And we have all of Health Department's approval except for the testing of the pumping equipment in the mound pump pit.
So you intend on using that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is just a photo of the front of the site from Old Chapco Wharf Way, looking at the property. Behind the sign there, there's a small little pile of dirt, but behind that is the mound system. Next slide, please. And this is the view of the property looking out at the Wycomico River from Old Chapco Wharf Way. And this is the tidal pond that's on the back side of the property. So there's a 100-foot buffer on both sides of this property. And that's just another view of the sand mound septic system from the rear of the property. And a close-up of the septic system. All right, so the site plan, we are constructing a single-family dwelling with an accessory apartment inside of the building. The entire house and the porches and steps and stoops are all outside of the 100-foot critical area buffer. We are proposing a driveway to access the house from Old Chapco Wharf Way, which is within the buffer, and it's been an existing road for a very long time. It serves all of the lots on that peninsula. And so the only disturbance to the buffer is for the driveway, and also a little bit just for construction purposes to construct the edge of the front porch. As we said, the septic system, we're going to utilize the existing mound system, and we also show the proposed planting requirement on the plan. We've got, let's see how many clusters of trees and shrubs lining the buffer on the along the tidal pond side. And I think that's about it. If you guys have any questions, be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the board members?
You're able to put the mitigation on site?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
With the septic system, is there a best management practice that's to go along with that?
So As of now, because we're not changing anything on the septic system, the health department regulations are that we can continue to use our existing 1,500-gallon septic tank and not the BAT septic system.
Any other questions? Anybody? Okay, I'll open it up for public testimony now, if anybody wants to speak for or against the project.
Is there anyone here making a public comment on this case?
In that case, I'll close the meeting to public comment and open it up for board discussion.
Yeah, with the critical area, they were concerned about putting it in the mitigation on the property, and he said it's able to do that, so I don't see a problem.
Are we ready for a motion?
Yeah, I can make a motion. No, okay. In the matter of VAAP number 22-0836, having made a finding that the standards for granting a critical area variance and the objectives of section 24.4 of St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance have been met, I move to approve the applicant's request for a variance to section 71.8.3 of the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance.
Is there a second?
Construct the house with the driveway.
A second?
Second.
Second.
Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
As you can see, the board has approved your proposal. A decision reflecting the board's decision, an order reflecting the board's decision will be prepared by staff and signed by the board within 60 days. Excuse me. A 30-day period follows from the date the order is signed, during which any aggrieved party may appeal the board's decision to the circuit court. The recording secretary will mail you a copy of the order when it has been signed. Thank you very much, and good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay. Our next case is the Fleury VAAP 22-1961. The applicant is requesting a variance from the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, Section 71.5.2B, to disturb the expanded non-tidal wetland or to construct a garage. Stacy, are you first?
Okay, the next public hearing tonight is variance application 22-1961, the Fleury property. They are requesting a variance from section 71.5.2.B to disturb the expanded 100-foot non-tidal wetland buffer to construct a garage. The legal advertisements were printed on November 18th and 25th, 2022, in the Southern Maryland News. Certified mailings were sent to adjacent property owners located within 200 feet of the property, and a public hearing sign was posted on the property on or before November 23rd, 2022. The owners of the property are St. Clement's Woods Garage, LLC, and John Fleury. The property consists of 8,000 square feet and currently has an existing driveway and a shed. The property is located at the intersection of Meadow Lane, Sassafras Lane, and Lady Baltimore Avenue, and at 22230 Meadow Lane in Leonardtown. It is zoned residential neighborhood conservation. As depicted on the DNR maps, the wetlands are located adjacent to the site. Additionally, hydric soils impact the site. In the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, Section 71.5.2.B states that a 25-foot buffer shall be preserved from the edge of non-tidal tidal wetlands and shall be expanded up to 100 feet to include areas of adjacent hydric soils. The applicant is proposing to construct a 20 by 24 garage on the lot, and Land Use Growth Management and the Soil Conservation District are currently reviewing the site plan. It has been approved by the Health Department. Okay, the site plan. Our details. The applicant is proposing a 20 by 24 two-story garage with a driveway. The existing driveway will remain, and the existing carport or shed will be removed. Do we have any questions?
Any questions from the board members?
I have some questions probably for the applicant.
Okay. We can come back to the board if we need to, with the staff, I mean. Okay, applicant, who will be making the presentation for the applicant? Mr. Vaughn, I'd like to remind you, you're still under oath.
Okay. So we are requesting a variance to disturb the expanded non-tidal wetland buffer to construct a garage on Meadow Lane in St. Clements Shores. Here's a tax map image of the site. Parcel 20. And again, it's located in St. Clements Shores in Leonardtown, or near Compton. A few photos of the site. So this is the aerial showing the property. You can see that we are proposing the garage location on that lot. And this is an image from the kind of the intersection of Lady Baltimore and Meadow Lane, looking in on the site. Another view from, I believe this is Meadow Lane, looking at the carport and across the site. And then this is off of Sassafras, looking through the site. Okay, the site plan.
Those photos are actually where the garage is going to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in that cleared area.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So this is a relatively small lot, and it's constricted by the building restriction lines. The owners do not have a sewer allocation on this particular property, but they live in the area, and they wanted to construct a garage for storage purposes. And so that's what we're doing here. The wetlands that are mapped are all lying within the 100, or lying within hydric soil, excuse me, which has a 100-foot expanded wetland buffer, which takes in most of the developable property when you take away the 25-foot building restriction line off of Sassafras and also off of Meadow Lane. So there's not a lot of room left there. Building a modest garage with an extension to the existing driveway, and also doing stormwater management for the entire site. Let's see. I guess I'll open it up to questions.
Yes, is there water and sewage hooked up to the garage?
There is not.
No?
It's just for storage. They don't have a sewer allocation, and I don't believe they can they can't hook up to water without having the sewer
So
allocation.
the second story is not for, not living
It's all
quarters?
for storage, vehicle storage on the first floor and just personal
Just a
storage.
garage?
That's right.
Thank you.
With electricity? No? Nope.
Electricity,
Running water?
no running water, but electricity.
And it's just freestanding, it's not attached to anything?
That's correct.
And no comments from the critical area because it's not?
No, it's not
okay.
located within the critical area.
The other thing, we neglected to do the last case, do we have to go through the standards or not?
Well, I'll ask the attorney that. I mean, we had, the standards were addressed in two
Yeah,
locations.
the motion that we
Half.
read indicated that we found the standards either from the record or from the testimony, so we're okay there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just,
Keep me straight. No other questions?
no.
Then I'll open it up to public testimony. Anybody would like to speak for or against this project? Then I will close the meeting to public testimony and open it up for board discussion.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
I have no problem.
I'm good.
Garage.
Take a motion.
I'll make one. In the matter of VAAP 22-1961, the Fleury property, having made a finding that the standards for granting a variance and the objectives of Section 24-4 of the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance have been met, I move to approve the variance request from Section 71.5.2B to disturb the non-title wetland buffer to construct a garage.
Second.
I have a second to the motion.
Yes.
Mr. Medinsky?
Aye.
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 The ayes have it. An order reflecting the board's decision is prepared by staff and signed by the board within 60 days. A 30-day period follows from the date the order is signed, during which any aggrieved party may appeal the board's decision to the circuit court. The recording secretary will email you a copy of the order when it has been signed. Good luck.
Thank you.
The next case for this evening is case number 3, Ferber Property, VAAP 22-2084. The applicant is requesting a variance from the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, Schedule 32.1, for a reduction of the mandatory front and side setbacks to replace an existing dwelling from Section 51.2.4.c to reduce the 10-foot setback to 5 feet between the replacement house and an existing shed, and from Section 41.7.2a, parentheses 7a, for a new accessory structure to be closer to the water than the principal structure on the property.
Okay.
Stacy?
Thank you. Okay. The third public hearing tonight is variance application 22-2084, the Ferber property. They were requesting a variance from Schedule 32.1 for a reduction of the mandatory front and side setbacks to replace an existing dwelling, and from Section 51.2.4.c to reduce the 10-foot setback to 5 feet between the replacement house and the existing shed, and from Section 41.7.4A7A for a new accessory structure to be closer to the water than the principal structure on the property. The legal advertisements were printed on November 18th and 25th, 2022 in the Southern Maryland News. Certified mailings were sent to adjacent property owners located within 200 feet of the project property, and a public hearing sign was posted on the property on or before November 23rd, 2022. The owners of the property are Kenneth and Dolores Ferber. The property consists of 6,250 square feet and currently has an existing house and shed. The applicant is proposing to replace the existing house and add a deck. The site plan is exempt from stormwater management since the site plan proposes less than 5,000 square feet of disturbance. The Health Department and Soil Conservation District are currently reviewing the site plan, and the Critical Area Commission responded to the applicant's request in their letter dated November 15, 2022. The property is located at 43850 Avon Way in Leonardtown. It is zoned Rural Preservation District. Now, according to Schedule 32.1 of the CZO, the minimum setbacks for the front yard are 25 feet. The applicant is proposing a 22-foot front yard setback. And the minimum setback requirement for the side yards is 15, and the applicant is proposing 10-foot setbacks on each side. The critical area overlay is limited development area with a buffer management overlay. Now, the applicant is proposing to replace the existing house and add a deck. Okay, as depicted in the site plan detail, the applicant is requesting the reduction of the front and side yard setbacks. If the setbacks were applied per Schedule 32.1, the area in pink would be the remaining buildable area. The applicant is also requesting a reduction of the distance between the proposed house, which is in green, and the existing wood shed, okay, from 10 feet to 5 feet. And lastly, they are requesting a new accessory structure, the deck, to be closer to the water than the house. Okay, critical area mitigation will be required at a ratio of 3:1 for the permanent disturbance within the buffer of 180 square feet. The buffer management overlay additionally requires 2:1 mitigation for lot coverage of 731 located within the buffer, and 1:1 mitigation for new lot coverage outside of the critical area buffer. The applicant will be providing 2,230 square feet of buffer establishment plantings to meet these requirements. A buffer management plan must be approved by staff prior to the issuance of a building permit. Are there any questions?
Board members have any questions of staff? In that case, we're ready for the applicant to proceed. And who will be representing the applicant? And Steve, I will remind you, you're under oath still.
Okay, we are requesting a variance from the front yard setback, the side yard setback, a variance from an existing shed to be 5 feet instead of the required 10 feet, and also a variance for a new accessory structure closer to the water than the principal structure. Okay, the property is located in the Langdon subdivision, just north of the Piney Point area, near White Point Beach. We are lot number 18 in Langdon subdivision off of Avon Way. Here's a few photos of the site. So we're proposing to replace the existing house basically right in the same area, just with a slightly wider footprint. Okay, next slide, please. Here's a photo from the driveway off Avon Way, showing the existing house. The shed that is on this property is the one on the right-hand side next to the van.
Is this the roadside?
This is the roadside, yes, sir.
Okay.
And the shed is on the subject property?
Yes, the shed on the right-hand side is on the subject property, yes, sir. The one, the white shed is on the neighboring property.
And the neighboring property, looks like the house is under construction?
Yes, they're currently building a new house right now. Okay. This is a view from the pier, looking back at the house, and also you can see the two neighboring houses. We're proposing to build, similar footprint to what those two houses are. And this is just a view of from the shoreline looking out at the pier. And then a closer up view of the back of the existing house. Okay, so for the site plan, Stacy, would you mind pulling up your blown up view? I forgot to put one of those in.
That's fine.
This one.
Give me just a minute to pull it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So as you can see, the green outlined house, that is the proposed house. The red hatched in area is the existing house. So the existing house was approximately 24 by 42. That was the footprint, 24 feet wide, 42 feet deep. The proposed house is 30 feet wide and 40 feet deep with a 6-foot deck on the back. We are asking for, this is only a 50-foot wide lot, so if we had applied the 15-foot side building restriction lines, it would only leave a 20-foot buildable area, and that's why we're asking for the additional side yard on both sides. The front of the existing house and the front of the proposed house are identical. The existing house was 22 feet from the front property line. We are maintaining that same distance. The back of the house is, the back of the proposed house, the water side of the house is 2 foot shorter than the existing house. And then we're proposing a 6-foot deck off of that, which doesn't extend any farther than the existing step and stoop that's currently there on the house. As far as trying to meet the standards for accessory structures without requiring the variance, in order to, and I'll just read this from the ordinance, new structures accessory to a residential use may be permitted in the buffer in accordance with the following requirement. They may be closer to the water or edge of the tidal wetlands than principal structure on the property if no other location exists for the placement. Placement in the front or side yard subject to variance approval shall be preferred over placement in the buffer. We feel that having the deck on the back of the house is more of a logical place for it instead of putting it on the side, especially when we're asking for a reduction in the side buffer yard. That would, if we put a 6-foot deck on the side, we would only be 4 feet off of the property line with a deck. And, to enjoy the property, you wouldn't want to put the deck on the front of the house. And it would also be encroaching further into the front setback than what's allowed. So the mitigation, we believe we can have it on site. I think we can get those, the amount that they're asking for, as long as we cluster it with trees and shrubs. I think we can get the mitigation on the property. We would not prefer to move the house closer to the road, just because 22 feet, that's barely enough to get, a vehicle parked in front of there, in front of the house. Let's see. And I think that's about it. If anyone has any questions. Yes, sir.
Yes, have you seen the letter from the state?
I have. Or excerpts from it. I haven't seen the entire letter.
In the third paragraph, she states that there's an opportunity to reconfigure the deck. And I don't see that, if it's on the front of the house, on the water side, I don't see how we can reconfigure it.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have a deck on the side of the house.
right. And that's, we feel that a deck on the water side of the house is a reasonable request. And like you said, on the side of the house or on the roadside, it doesn't seem reasonable.
Yeah, and it's not a real big deck.
No, it's only 6 feet wide. It's pretty modest.
Is it covered?
So it's there's a deck on the, so this house has because of space, it has a garage on the ground level, and then there's the living room, kitchen areas on the second floor, and then there's bedrooms on the third floor. So there's a deck on the second floor and a deck on the third floor, but there's no porch over it. It's just a double-decker deck.
And the boards would be spaced, right?
Yes, this will be
The quarter-inch or whatever it is.
Yes, that's it, yeah, 3/4 inch. Not to be considered lot coverage.
I'm sorry, doesn't the site plan have a roof over the,
Let's see.
on the top?
It's on the site, on the floor plan. It's
Floor plan.
called covered deck, but I think what it's meant to be is on the second floor, it's covered by another deck. There is no roof on the house plans.
Okay.
So there will be a deck on the ground floor, first floor and second floor?
So not on the ground floor, just the second floor and the third floor.
The concrete pad, is that raised?
So the concrete pad on the side is for the air conditioner unit, and I believe is also maybe for a generator pad. I have to, but no, it's on the ground level.
I'm laughing, and if anybody knows me when I'm laughing, it's not good. Our former chairman, Mr. Hayden,
Yes, sir.
George Allen,
Yes, sir.
was with the fire department, I don't know, since he was a kid. And I know he'd be strongly against this because there's no way to get any fire equipment in between none of the houses or to the backside. You can't get through there. I think the smallest fire truck now is like 10 foot. So he'd be adamantly against this. I don't like that concrete pad over there, and I don't like the woodshed, because if you pull up the picture for the woodshed,
Yes.
it blocks that whole side to where you can't get anything down through there. And the other side, you only have 8 feet. You can't get anything through there either.
So we have modified it to be 10 and 10.
Well, 10 is
Yeah, I
exactly what it
understand.
is.
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. I can talk with, and ask if they would, we could talk about moving that wooden shed, that wood shed.
Yeah, I'd like to see that go, and the proposed concrete pad be put,
And that could possibly be moved into another location as well.
or maybe on the other side of the house, to at least have access
one.
somewhere. to the back side of this house, on to the sides of it. I'm not worried about the pad being on the other side, but I would love to see access somewhere. I mean, for everybody's safety, for the adjacent owners, for them, for everybody.
Wouldn't, excuse me, wouldn't the pad on the other side of the house be just as,
Well, they only got 10 feet over there anyway. At least they have 11 feet on this side. And if they move the woodshed, or take the woodshed down completely, that would take care of, that would give you some access. You could get some equipment through there, but as it is now, you can't get equipment on either side of the house.
Is it grandfathered in?
Well, they're increasing the size of the house.
Yes.
Which, and I understand that. I'm not really against that, but I hate the fact that there's no access anywhere. Maybe to get the,
well, would they really take a piece of equipment to the back of the house?
you got to get to it. You know, what happens if something catches on fire? You got to get to it.
But wouldn't they be able to get to it from the road or from the driveway? No?
You know, I'm not a fireman, but I know George Allen would never approve this, no way, shape, or form. I don't have a problem if we can move some stuff around.
How
myself
close is
personally.
the next house to this house?
Let's see,
The side yards,
it's approximately, so the neighboring house on one side is pretty close to the property line. They're probably about 3 feet from the property line.
right?
The other house, it appears to be 10 feet off of their property line as well.
10 feet off, so they would have access on that side.
They got a woodshed on their side already that's in the way, right on the line. I mean, if you can pull that picture up, you can see it, see
Yeah.
what's going on there. I don't have a problem with the deck or them building a house and enlarging the house. 24 feet certainly isn't or even 30 feet certainly isn't a very big house. I don't have I just don't want to cut all the access off on, that's just me though. I'm just one person. For safety's sake, that's my only concern.
We were also, before the meeting, we were discussing, would it be possible to take that shed and move it to the other side? So that way those two sheds would be close together, and then they could possibly have.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I don't know. Where's the, there you go. See, the right side is completely blocked, and then the shed on the other side blocks it. If you put those sheds back to back, at least you'd have access on one side. You'd have 11 foot, but you still have to move your concrete pad for your heat pumps and your, well, we'll get to you. Well, wait a minute, we have this in, yeah, hold up.
Did you want to talk with your client?
Yes. if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Why couldn't they move the one pad over? Why couldn't they move the smaller pad over to the other side? Because that other concrete pad has an entry door.
It don't matter what side to put the heat pump on. I mean, it's just a matter of running wires.
This pad. This over here.
We can move on and come back to this, but
Well, I think we're at that spot.
So they're open to moving, keeping one side open
Okay.
completely. If we can move that shed to the other side, we can also
and the
take.
concrete pad also? Okay. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm good then. We can move on.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
So the height of the structure, in the letter from Ms. Magruder and Mr. Beauchamp, they expressed a concern about the height of the structure being taller than what's in the local area. So is this going to tower over? I mean, it sounds like it's a 3-story structure. Looking at the other ones around it, they're all 2-story. Has that been addressed as your client talked to them?
So that was a fairly recent, the letter, so we haven't had a chance to address that. But I will say that we do meet the height requirements for the zone. It is a 3-story structure, and it will be probably 6 to 8 feet higher than the new house that's in the picture here. Just because it's that's a 2-story house, and this will have a garage on the first floor and 2 stories above it.
But you are within the height requirement?
Yes.
You haven't broken in or violated? Okay.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Only for the applicant if they want to talk. Just more in relation to the letter from the Beauchamp and Mr. Beauchamp and Ms. Magruder. So that's all I wanted to ask.
Did you have a chance to look at the state letter?
So I saw the portion about, I didn't see the entire letter, just the portion about, trying to amend this to not need the variance, but I don't see how we can keep it out of the 100-foot buffer. That's what the variance is for, is putting it someplace where we can keep it outside of the 100-foot buffer. In that this is a 125-foot deep lot, and with the 100-foot buffer, it takes in almost the entire lot. So I don't see how we can put it elsewhere.
Okay, I would agree with that. Any other questions?
No, sir.
In that case, I'll open the meeting up to public testimony. Is there anybody that would like to speak for or against the property or make any comments?
And Mr. Chairman, I do want to point out that the Magruders, Ms. Magruder and Mr. Beauchamp did write a letter. They had some concerns in there. If we could talk about those for a little bit.
Okay.
We can wait till after this gentleman talks.
Yep.
My name is Jim Beecham. We own the property at 43844 Avon Way. If it will help address your fire concerns, sir, the health department has required us to put a vehicular gate in our front yard.
Excuse me.
Of the side road, the right-of-way beside our house.
Excuse me a second. May I swear you in first?
Our house is the one under construction.
Okay. Would you raise your right hand?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
And do you declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony, responses, and statements you may give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
And again, for the record, would you state your name? Your address?
At 43844 Avon Way.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
If it will help address the fire concerns, sir, the health department has required us to put a vehicular gate in our front yard off of the right-of-way. Obviously, I'd have a vested interest in my brother-in-law house is on fire. The fire department is welcome to cut right through our yard to get to the front of his, if that helps address your concerns.
For today, that would be fine, but for the future, it may not be.
It's a health department requirement.
No, I meant,
Understood.
right, yeah, you understand where I'm coming? Okay. But, yeah, thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Bradley?
So the fee in lieu of planning letter in the comments, did you get a chance to read that at all?
In the letter?
Yeah.
Yes. And spoken with Leah Langford with Land Use and Growth Management, not on this particular project, but fee in lieu is to be used as a last resort. So we would have to plant as much as we can plant on site, and if we can't, and we don't have an off-site area to plant them, then we would be allowed to do fee in lieu. But for this amount of mitigation, I mean, we'll see what we can plant, and if we can't, we can possibly, I'll talk with Land Use and Growth Management, we can possibly offset the rest of it with fee in lieu if we can't get it all on site.
Okay.
Is that normal? Is that allowed?
Yes, but it's got all planting on site needs to be exhausted.
And just as you said earlier, like planting on site or another
Adjacent, yeah.
adjacent site, same critical area zoning. Okay.
And then fee in lieu.
Thank you.
And to go back to the placement of the deck, it looks like the neighbors have agreed that placing the deck in that area allows everybody to use their property, if I'm reading the letter correctly, use their property and enjoy their property. Placing the deck anywhere else, as the critical area suggested, would probably impact that also.
Right.
So there's another viewpoint of where the deck should go. It definitely should go where they have it on their plans. That's all the questions I got.
Mr. Vaughn, the property owners are okay with moving the concrete pad and the woodshed to the other side? Would that be the north side?
That would
Move from the south to the north, or what would that be?
Yeah, from the north side to the south side.
Oh, it's from the north to the south?
Yep. Yes, sir.
So be moving it to the south side?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know if, you know.
Wow, let me double check to make sure there's nobody else that wants to speak for or against this. We put into evidence the letter that was received, I guess today, that came today, and no other comments from the audience. So I'll close the public hearing and open up for board discussion. With the mention of the comments, the Critical Area Commission
Right.
variance standards were reviewed or are included by both the staff and the applicant.
I mean, do you understand where I'm coming from on this? And is that okay to put that in as a condition? Y'all are fine with that? Okay.
Yeah.
So the condition would have two items in it: move the shed and move the pad.
Yeah, the shed and concrete pad. Good. In the matter of VAP 22-2084, having made a finding that the standards for granting a variance and the objectives of Section 24.3 and Schedule 32.1 of the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zone Ordinance have been met, I move to approve the variance request for the reduction of the mandatory front and side setbacks to replace an existing dwelling, to reduce the 10-foot setback to 5 feet between the replacement house and the existing shed. I don't know if that, we don't need that anymore. And for the new accessory structure to be closer to the water than the principal structure on the property, with one condition to move the woodshed and concrete pads both to the south side of the site.
Second.
Second. Bradley?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay. As you can see, the Board of Support approved your request, and an order reflecting the board's decision will be prepared by staff, signed by the board within 60 days. A 30-day period follows from the date the order is signed, during which any aggrieved party may appeal the board's decision to the circuit court. The recording secretary will mail you a copy of the order once it has been signed. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Now we have various approvals and signature. We have the minutes of the November 10th meeting for consideration. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns on that?
Yes, sir, on page 14.
Page 14 of the minutes?
Page 14 of Mrs. Kelly's.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. Let's do the minutes from the meeting, last meeting first.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Now we have the Kelly VAAP 1917-13. The county attorney has reviewed it and is ready to have it signed, and it is for a variance from the comprehensive zoning ordinance, section 71.8.3, to disturb the critical area buffer to construct a swimming pool.
And that's the one we have a problem with? No, that ain't the one?
No, that's next.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, sign the order.
I've got a question, sir. On
okay.
page 14,
Oh, all right.
about 2/3 of the way down, because the applicant's swimming pool is, this case amounts to more than a purely recreational amenity. If I recall, Mrs. Kelly, she had a letter from a doctor, a physician, stating it would be therapeutic value to her medical condition.
Right.
This is very vague. I think we ought to add one more paragraph, or one more sentence to it.
Well, I think both of them had injuries that they were using the pool for therapeutic purposes, didn't they? There wasn't both of them that?
Yeah, but I'd still like to hear what Mr. Richardson has on his mind.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it's awful vague, and if this is for historical value, somebody'd look at it 5 years from now and say, it was for therapeutic value to an existing medical condition.
And so what you might want to add there is something that says, and based upon the testimony given at the meeting, there would also be used for therapeutical value?
Yes. I'd say a letter accompanying Mrs. Kelly's request stating that the pool would be a therapeutic to her existing medical condition.
I think with respect to precise language, if we're going to add something like that, I'd want to leave that to Attorney Hauser to just review the record one more time to make sure we get the wording consistent with the testimony.
If I may also, we've got Mr. Longmore, the applicant attorney, here, and he is, I'm sure, welcome to chime in as well. If you, Mr. Richardson, review the rest of the order, there is language in the order that does reflect the Kellys, and particularly Miss Kelly's medical condition. That was obviously a key part of their testimony. I tried to put language into the order that reflected how strongly that seemed to bear on this board's consideration of that request. I agree with Mr. Richard in the idea that that should be brought out, and the order was prepared to reflect that. I was thinking that with that one order, the language that was given over elsewhere in the order, I thought, in my opinion, was sufficient. If it is something that the board wants to see a revision made to, though, we can certainly accommodate it. But absolutely, the medical testimony, the letters from Miss Kelly's doctor at Johns Hopkins Community Physicians, I believe, and the letters she wrote detailing her and her husband's own medical history obviously was of saliency to the board's consideration. But I do think there's language in the order reflecting that already.
And it looks like that shows up on page 6, the first bullet on that page.
Additionally,
Yes.
page 9.
Yes. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, I already made a motion, so.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I will sign that off. The next one is for Kyle and Jill Matthews, and they wanted to build a private landing strip on property in the Piney Point-ish area.
Right. This one, notice they still had the words hangar in there. They never said anything about a hangar. It wasn't in any of the plans, but it's still in the document.
And it's in two places. One is the pleadings, and the second place is in the order, ordered in the second sentence. I think we need to have those struck.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, the applicant's testimony is that there would be
No hangar.
no hangar, and the board's order that evening of the hearing indicated such as well. So that can be stricken. I don't know if the board wants to approve the chair's authority to sign with that change.
Yes, I do. Make a motion.
With the change?
With the change, yes.
Okay, I'll second that.
To be made by the county attorney's office.
Right. And I'll sign the signature page tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. That one. The next one that we have is for the Guither property. And that was, the applicant was seeking a variance from the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance for a reduction in the mandatory front yard setback to reduce the 10-foot setback to 2 feet to replace an existing carport. And the carport, if I remember, was to have solar panels on the top.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was approved.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we sign the order.
Second.
The next one we had,
All in favor?
excuse me.
Aye.
The next one we have is John and Jamie Weber, and they were seeking a variance from the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to disturb the critical area buffer to construct a sunroom. Again, I believe that was a 5-0 approval.
Make a motion to sign the order.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Does anybody have anything for the good of the cause?
What do we got coming up?
So for our January 12th hearing, that's the next hearing, there are 4 cases. The first is Okanowski. It's an after-the-fact critical area variance to build a walkway.
You approve that tonight?
What's that?
Nothing, just kidding, just kidding.
What, the pronunciation?
No, I'm saying let's approve that one tonight.
Okay. And then we have Britton Bay Landings. That's a critical area variance as well to build a retaining wall. And then there's the Bowles case. It's a critical area variance to construct a residence. And then the Taylor case is a critical area variance to replace a shed. And that's it. And the orders from this evening, of course.
I only have on my list here, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and your families, and have happy holidays.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good, very good. And then the next meeting is January 12th. We did mention that. And I will take one more motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you all very much.